All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 10K Bets Live, the show where we talk about sports betting within the state of Minnesota, give you our dumb takes, dumb opinions, shit we hate. We kind of just dive all over the place, kind of more of a talk show than anything. But that's the key piece in this, is that this is a talk show. If you want to join along in the conversation, you head over to Facebook, you head over to YouTube, you can type along right in the comments. We're live. We'll see you. We'll put you on the screen. We'll highlight your takes. We'll highlight your bets. Give our opinions on our bets. You can tell us we're idiots. You can fade us. You can do whatever you want. Twitter, we can't see you. YouTube, Facebook, head over there now. We are 10K Bets, part of 10,000 Takes. With me today, we usually have a group. We usually have 4 or 5 of us today, but these clowns decided to bail. Daddy here, real quick, got a new job, got drunk, still showed up to the show. Little rats, the rest of the little rats couldn't make it. But joined with me today, Sammy Stats. Sammy, let's start with you, buddy. How you doing? I mean, start with you. You're the only fucking person here. Sammy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great. Awesome time of the year. NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. Just got done with the NFL draft. MLB is getting into full swing here. So yeah, plenty of sports, lots to talk about, a lot of bets. UFC's on the card, golf, you name it.
Which that's one thing I'm super excited about. Golf season's finally here. It's not even so much the betting aspect of it, the playing aspect of it, because we've already been betting on golf. You and I specifically have been betting on golf, but not a whole lot of love. We'll talk hockey today. We don't need to go too deep in it, but we'll talk definitely about the wagon, the Minnesota Twins going on right now. Touch a little bit on the Vikings draft, and then we'll hit you with some bets, some stuff we hate, like we said, normal show stuff. But once again, if you want to participate, YouTube, Facebook, chat, hit us up. Now, Minnesota Wild, tough first exit. But let's highlight Darius here real quick. Land of 10,000 rakes. Damn straight, Darius. That is what we'll talk about that right at the bat. Let's just go Twins. We don't need to talk about the Wild right now. We got to talk about how they are an absolute wagon right now. They are dominating and they are not slowing down anytime soon. It is absolutely crazy. Drop the Land of 10,000 rakes fishing vest. Unbelievable. Watching Buxton with my favorite part, and this is why. So if you guys don't know, I do merch design. That's like my whole thing. Like, so anything that you guys buy from the shop, I've generated, I'm working through it, trying to get that stuff out for you guys. One of my favorite things about this whole thing, loved the vest, thought it was absolutely hilarious. But the best part was Buxton getting handed the little toy fishing pole and just casting one out there. So if you guys didn't see, we do have our shirt live in the 10K shop right now, 10ktakesmn.com. Click the little shop tab. You can take it right over there. Numerous colors, numerous sizes, anything you guys want. We're switching up our merchandise a little bit. But we got the little, I guess we'll call it the baseball bobber tee. That says Land of 10,000 rakes, just an absolute slogan. Every once in a while, these gold mines pop up of just beauty slogans for the state of Minnesota. And that's our championship of the year, because we don't actually win them. Like, these little moments are what keep us hanging on, Sammy. Just keeps us coming back for more. It's a little drug addict taste. You gum it up a little bit so you're not an addict, but you're gonna come back and get some more.
No, the Twins are playing great. It's fun. I believe they're 17-12, top of the AL Central. It's been nice kind of seeing that, like, the White Sox may or may not be like that team they were last year and the year before, which obviously helps our chances of winning the division. And then obviously the other, question mark team is the Guardians, who are typically pretty solid. Pitching's typically, kind of their forte. But, they're just pretty average at best. I believe they might be 500 by now or something. I really like where we're at in the division. Obviously, it's, some could argue it's the worst division in baseball. But it's good right now. I like what I'm seeing out of the Twins. Pitching obviously has been the biggest kind of question mark that we've had throughout the last few years now, and it looks like we can pitch, which is great because we've always kind of been able to hit. But the pitching has been an absolute utter disaster in the past years, whether it's starters or getting into the bullpen. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I think you could say it every year. This could be our year, but I definitely like us to at least give it a run in the AL Central, and then hopefully get somebody in the playoffs that we can compete against. And honestly, if it is the Yankees again, they don't really scare me. I mean, we've been this year. I mean, we won the series versus them. I think we went 2-1 in both series. So yeah, I mean, I think if our pitching's there, we'll be able to put together some good series and hopefully get that first playoff win that we haven't seen in fucking forever.
Please, for the love of God. That's actually funny that you bring that up. You're like, I'm not scared of the Yankees, because that line is so funny. You saying it, I buy into it, because I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck, let's do it. If
yeah,
Casey's sitting here saying that shit, I'm like, you're a fucking loser. Like, you're just wrong. Or even Renzi boy, for that matter. If he's saying that shit, I'm like, no, But you, I'm buying into it. Eventually, we're gonna get to the point where I'm gonna hate your guts for that take. But
right.
I kind of
I'm
agree
sure
with.
it's
We had a 2-2 game split with the Yankees as well, too. 2 wins, 2 losses as well, too. We looked pretty damn good, but you were talking about our pitching. Holy shit, we needed this so badly. We've never
oh,
had this before. We just have to
no.
hope the batting can keep up. That's like the key
Mhm.
piece in this as well, too. But Sonny Gray, it's the hockey bit. That's how I describe it. It's the hockey bit where I always have had this saying, and now I'm kind of scared because the Twins, for once, are showing a glimmer of hope. We've never like bought these players or had these solid studs, but I say you
Right.
never trust a player in their contract year.
Mhm.
People always buy into it as well, too. The Joey Gallo. In this scenario, it's Joey Gallo, it's Sonny Gray.
Mhm.
Both of
Yep.
those cats are up for a lot of money,
Mhm.
and they are playing for it right now. You see that
Yeah.
anytime it's a contract year for a hockey guy, that dude's putting up. If he's a third line grinder, he's putting up 60 points. He makes his way in a power play one. You sign him for a fuck ton of money. He comes back the next year. He forgot how to shoot the puck. He's just like, I got paid. Summer took off, just
Yeah.
chilling now.
Yeah.
And so you see that
Sure.
hockey all the time, but baseball, man, these guys for once, is this what it's like to like acquire and pay talent? Like the
Mhm.
Joey Gallo thing is looking, we look like we're geniuses,
Yeah,
like
it's great. It
absolute
was a great
geniuses.
signing. I mean, I loved every bit of it. It gives us that some power, some extra power there. Whether he's hitting fifth or seventh, I don't care because when he's up, I know that the probability of him either going deep or giving us a hard base hit, maybe a gap shot. It's something that we haven't seen, especially last year with the Yankees. He was just pitiful. Striking out a ton. His average is, a buck 50, maybe. And I don't mind him at first base either. I know he's a gold glove outfielder, but if we can get his bat to stay hot here,
Mhm.
throw him wherever. I love him in the lineup. I want him to stay in the lineup.
Well, on top of that too, we got guys like Larnish. I'm saying the name
Mhm.
wrong. I'm sure Larnish are just absolutely cruising right now. And on top of
Yeah,
that too, Farmer went down with an injury. Farmer was
yeah,
playing great. He
yeah,
comes
yeah.
back. Who knows? We're seeing. I think I saw we had the highest OPS in the entire league
Mhm.
as well too this morning, because when I was working out, I work out, by the way. It's not that big of a deal. I don't like to brag about it, but going back to your point about the Guardians as well too, I don't know how to describe them. Like,
Yeah,
they are a team that like is so bad, but they like to hang on. They're a
yeah, oh
leech.
yeah.
They're a
A
tick. Like, you
lot
think
of
you're safe.
one-run games.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you think you're safe through the woods, and then you get to playoff time. You're like, what the fuck is that on my leg?
Yeah.
And there they are. It's the Cleveland Guardians, just latched on you. They haven't bit yet, but the
Mhm.
risk is there. You
Yeah,
never
oh yeah,
know.
and I don't think they're gonna fold either. I mean, I think they are either the best or second best team in the division throughout the year going
Mm.
forward here, and I think it's gonna be us and them. Right now, I can't believe the White Sox though. I mean, I think they're 8-21.
Tough,
They
yeah.
just
They're in a bad
broke
spot.
a 10 loss game loss. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what's happening with them. They got guys that aren't running out, singles. They're not. It just almost seems like they're not bought in. The pitching's a disaster. It's pretty great actually, as obviously as a Twins fan, because I was most worried about them and their lineup. Before the season. So to see what I'm seeing out of them now, and obviously we're just 1/8 of the season or whatever,
Yeah.
but I don't see much out of them, which is obviously
Mhm.
great for the Twins.
Well, and you look at the rest of it as well too. Detroit, not that great. Not a whole lot to even watch there.
And same with
Kansas
Kansas
City,
City.
as we just saw, dog
Yes.
shit.
Oh,
Absolute dog
terrible.
shit.
So
It's
it's really
on top.
just us and the Indians or Guardians, and
Yeah. Which,
you know,
uh, I think too, it's a fault to Kansas City too. When you have that sick little like KC, like they do have a cool logo, like despite what
mhm,
people want to say about Kansas City or whatever.
beautiful stadium too.
Beautiful. And then they were wearing the weird, like it was just blocky font Kansas City jerseys, like no splash, no flare. You can't wear that shit when you actually have like a cool fucking symbolic symbol, unlike our
Right.
Miami Marlins ripoff. Just want to piss some people off. Because I actually love that. I love the M and the star, but But yeah, there isn't a whole lot there. I don't know if you saw it. I got to give Barstool credit on this as well, because I'm pretty sure that's who I saw it through. Of the guys lined up, there's people lined up to go into the White Sox game, and there's a guy shouting from the top balcony, like, "Don't fucking bother! It's not worth it." He's just like, he's yelling at people to stay out of the stadium. It's like, don't. It's you're not gonna have fun. Get out.
I mean, I've been seeing more and more fights in the stadium too. Like people are pissed off. Fans they're making sell the team shirts. I mean, it's obviously they didn't expect to be in the position they're in. But I mean, it's comical.
Well, and to transition a little bit here too, I love fights in the stands. I guarantee, and I didn't see a whole lot of videos. I guarantee you, or if you were to set a line on this, let's do this instead. It's a sports betting show. Love for you to set a line right here. How many fights after that Boston Bruins L do you think just took place in the entire city of Boston? Not even in an arena, but in the city of Boston, or even domestics for that matter. Or assaults in general. What would you set that line in? What's the popular?
Definitely for just the arena, I'm going 13, and I'm taking the over.
And hammering the over.
Hammering the over at 13. The amount of pissed off fans that not only were bought into this team the entire year because they were 65-12 or whatever, but then to go out the way they went out at home, Game 7, after blowing a 3-1 lead in the series. I mean, I could not wrap my head around being in that position and blowing it. So I'm sure I would put 13. I'd hammer. And as far as the city goes, I mean, countless fights, bar fights, street fights, you name it. I mean,
we're talking old school Western double doors opening up, bar stools breaking over people's backs and shit.
Yeah.
And
I feel horrible for it.
Knowing Boston, it's just their cousin that they just fucking smoked. Like, it's my cousin. I can't do a Boston accent. That was terrible. What the fuck was that? Yeah, no, that's a bad one. You sound more Boston than I fucking sound. That was a tough accent.
I think you gotta go there for a week, and then you just start developing one.
It just comes, just naturally.
Yeah, it just comes for you.
Wow. Well, yeah, and so 650,000 people in the city of Boston. That's just Boston. We're not talking Massachusetts, but oh God. I mean, you take 30% of those people, domestic disputes, assaults, that's all-time record. And the funny thing about this, you talked about being down 3-1 and then being on this side of things, you can't fathom it. Funny enough, they did this to Toronto when Phil Kessel was there. I don't know if it was a 3-0 series or it was a 3-1 series lead, but when Phil Kessel was there, same shit happened. Toronto had a history of not making out the first round. Roles flipped. Toronto now advances out of the first round for the first time since 2004, I think I had seen.
Yeah, I think it was 19 straight series that they didn't make it out or something crazy. And
it's crazy.
And they're good. I mean, they they've kind of been good every year, but this team, in the past previous years, the line of, Marner and Matthews, they weren't producing. It was they're on the ice, but they're not scoring. They're not getting any points. Well, this past series, they're Matthews tore it up, and that's what he has to do. I mean, that's what he gets paid to do. Him, Marner, O'Reilly.
You named it.
I mean, they need them to produce, and they finally got it. They find something clicked with that team, and even with Tampa Bay, who's got loads of talent, they got they've been there, they have the experience, and bottom line is they went into Tampa and they won 3 games. So they're a complete team in my eyes. Samsonov looked kind of tough game 1, but then he just came back in that series and looked incredible. And I mean, watch out for Tampa. I know, they were going to get a tough team either way with Boston or Florida. And as we've just seen, Florida, there's no quit in Florida.
No, not at all.
I don't think this is a cakewalk of a series. I think they might have the line around minus 170 or 180 to win the series, but I watch out for Florida because the Panthers right now are buzzing, and they just knocked off the best team in hockey.
Yeah, an all-time line, I think as the has-beens, one of our other 10K podcasts would say, the absolute nail-gun moment was when Matthew Tkachuk in his post-game interview was everyone thought this was a major upset besides the guys in our room. It's fuck yeah, dude. Matty Tkachuk is a stud. I love that guy.
That was an awesome trade they made. That Huberdeau Tkachuk or whatever that
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm getting the names, or maybe
Oh, they
Shooter.
lost Barkov.
Shooter.
Barkov went
Yeah,
out,
that's
and
what it is.
yeah, so
So,
they big
yeah,
pieces back on
awesome
that one.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, and on top of and then we got to talk about tonight's action as well too. Devils and Rangers taking place literally right now.
Yep.
As anybody that's
Started.
ever listened to the show before, I don't know what it is about the Rangers, man. I'm a sucker for him. I hate Artemi Panarin. He's burned me on so many bets in the past. Like everybody has one guy, one
Yeah.
team that's like every time you bet on them, they just absolutely fuck you. For the bulk majority of the people that listen to the show, it's going to be any Minnesota team you can think of has probably screwed you in sports betting, right?
Right.
Mine is
Yep.
Artemi
Yep.
Panarin specifically. He is one person who is an absolute sicko in Chicago. Loved him to death. I thought they made a major mistake getting rid of him, but I understood at the time cap stuff. Yeah, Chicago's a dumpster fire, whatever. He goes there, and I
Yeah.
throw lots of money on them as well too. And sure as shit, a few months ago, we were chatting. I'm like, hey, yo, Rangers, I can get him at plus 1,200 right now. By the time I got to the bet, I think it dropped to plus 1,100, and they had just acquired Patrick Kane as well, too. I'm like, I have to hammer. I have to. I don't have a choice.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I had to.
Yeah, and now they are. I don't. The Devils piss me off too. They're a team that I just can't fathom. I can't grasp it. It's just like it doesn't make sense. Seattle is kind of one and the same as well too. Cam earlier in the year was really high on betting Seattle picks, and I was like, no, stop. Like it's gonna fall off at any point now. It just never did. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. There's teams in the playoffs that are remaining that are just absolute shockers to me, and I don't understand why it's working.
Well, Seattle, they had 100 points this year, which, obviously probably shocked a lot of people, but they are a quality hockey team, and they might not have, those stars, the guys that you're paying 8, 9, 10, 11 million, but they are a complete team. I mean, they just took down the, Stanley Cup champs in 7 games, and they beat them on the road in the Pepsi Center last night. So they have proven that they're here. They're here to play hockey, and great for Seattle. Great for the organization. I mean, they're buzzing there, and it's really fun to see.
Well, I remember specifically, and everyone dogged Seattle last year as they should have. So, like, I think that's why it took me as such a surprise. Like, even though they're in the West, I didn't even bother to pay any attention to them because, like, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Your best player is Philip Grubauer, and he played like shit last year. And then, and then like it was like, okay, you got Matty Beniers, he's sick. But then they also, I'm blanking on the other one, Yanni Gord, I think. Yanni Gord, I was like, he was a stud in Tampa as well too.
McCann is another one.
They got Eberle, but he's aged.
I don't know if you saw Bjorkstrand's game last night, but he was
potted 2, right?
He potted 2, and he also hit like 2 pipes. I think he had like 7 shots on goal. He played great. And it's funny because he probably could have had 4 or 5 goals. But hey, he did enough for the team. 2-1 game. They don't ask how it gets done as long as it gets done, and they did it, especially him.
It's crazy. Yeah. And he was a Columbus kid too. So like that's anytime anybody comes out of Columbus, I just don't expect anything from him. Like just straight up. Like Johnny Gaudreau, stud in Calgary, goes to Columbus. He's a stud this year, but he's like, it's Columbus. I don't give a shit.
It was one of those things where he just doesn't get any help. And I think Laine was out for a while. And then he got traded, or however that worked. Or from Jets to Columbus. So I mean, it was just one of those things. They just didn't have the complete team, and it was Columbus. I mean, you couldn't expect a ton from them, and so it is what it is. That franchise is, they need some life. They need a spark one way or another.
And it's going to be Connor Bedard. It's going to be Connor Bedard. I think, if you want my honest opinion, I think Connor Bedard is going to fall to the Sharks could end up somehow sneaking up and getting that first overall pick because it's great for the Bay. That's what they need. But it's going to be Columbus. And then at that point, I was like, I don't care about Connor Bedard. I just don't. He'll still like fall off my radar because it's Columbus. You could take him to the Stanley Cup, and I'm still just like,
Well, the other thing, kind of talking a little bit about this Rangers Devils series is obviously the Rangers are the spotlights. They're getting, 80% of the money on every game in this series. But New Jersey's very sneaky because obviously Jack Hughes, incredible. But then the guys that they've, acquired, Timo Meier,
stud.
Andre Palat, a few others. They're a solid team, and they showed, a lot of resilience, getting down 2-0, and they got fucking smoked those first two games, 5-1 in each game or whatever. And then they came back and you won 3 straight. So, they're another one where if they can get by the Rangers, which I hope they don't, because obviously we both have the Rangers future. I have a Rangers series price here. So obviously it's a pretty big game tonight. But if the Devils move on, I mean, they're another team that, and obviously at this point in time, everyone's good, right? Because you're in the playoffs, you're into the second round. But they're a sneaky team, and also they had this Schmid, this goaltender who didn't play a ton in the year or just wasn't the starter. But he's been looking great. So that's another thing: defense, goaltending, and if you can score on the power play in the playoffs, you're going to have a lot of success. And that's kind of what we've seen.
And it's just bonkers too, because they have no defensemen. And I say this very loosely, like obviously for an NHL caliber defenseman, you're sick. But if I read you their names, I pulled it up here just so I could read them off. Kevin Ball, okay. Ryan Graves, know of him. Dougie Hamilton was basically dead to the league, which is crazy. Luke Hughes just came up, stud. But John Marino, he was okay in Pittsburgh. He wasn't terrible. He was a solid defenseman. And then Damon Severson, Jonas Siegenthaler, who I thought was a solid defenseman, uses a massive fucking stick, by the way, a little cheater out of Washington. And then Brendan Smith. So like there's not a ton there to like really, you don't look at that and you're like, whoa. You can say that about the Wild as well, too, that we didn't really have that from a defensive standpoint. Like I know a lot of people are like Matt Dunn was flashy. Jonas Brodin is so solid, but still, and a fucking Spurgeon was talked about on Chicklets every other week, but it's like that's besides the point. We just don't have those flash names. This is even worse.
This is bad, and somehow I don't know if it's mojo in the locker room. I don't know if it's chemistry that these players developed, but somehow they're playing lockdown. And exactly to your point. Essentially a whole bunch of nobodies. But it's the playoffs, and they're figuring it out, and I give credit to them.
Yeah, good for them. Darius right here. We got to talk about his comment here, because of course this is a reactionary show. This is an interactive show. We want to hear from you guys. Once again, Facebook, YouTube will highlight your comments, even if they're negative. Kraken takes it all the way after beating the defending champions. I say no. I will not, and I'll get your opinion on this too, Sammy. Earlier we talked about it. Me and Sammy both have the Rangers' future. Like it's just something that we want to see happen. Realistically, I want Toronto to win. And I even said back in February, I marked it and I sent in the Wild Takes chat. In February, on my birthday, the 27th, I sent a text, was like, this is the Leafs here. And 3 people laughed in my face. Were like, you're stupid. And now they get past the first round, like they monkeys off the back with the 3 of the top centermen in the NHL. Not even from like a face-off standpoint, but just like offensive, defensively studs. You got Tavares, you have O'Reilly, you have Matthews. They have all of the pieces to make it happen, and they have momentum. And some would argue they have not even some. I feel like if you have an argument to this, you're an idiot. They have the most momentum right now, buzzing. Like you just broke a streak that is since 04, right? You broke this fat fucking streak, and now you have the tools and the offense to make it happen. If you stay healthy, hell, even if they lose bodies, they still have like Jason Spezza. Like they still have players, depth, stud players who might, like Spezza's old, obviously, but we're not talking about Marner. We're not talking about Nylander. We're not talking about TJ Brody on the defense as well, too. Like they have so many goddamn pieces that can just put pucks in net. And like I said, they got momentum. But Kraken, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take your comment down. Kraken, I'm going to say no, and I refuse to have faith in them because I just, as much as sick as their jerseys are, I just don't acknowledge them as like a real hockey team yet. I still do the same thing with Vegas. They got like 2 more years. Then I'm like, yep, they're real. But Sammy, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, that one's tough. They're coming off of obviously a fantastic series. You just beat the defending champs. The organization's buzzing. This is the first time they've been in the playoffs, in franchise history. Obviously, it's only been a couple of years. I don't think that they are going all the way. I think, what do they got now? Vegas? Vegas has Edmonton. They have, who are they playing?
I just saw it. Now I'm blanking.
I don't know why I'm blanking on it.
Dallas. Dallas, yeah. And Dallas looks great.
Yeah, that's a tough one. If Grubauer plays the way he did in Game 7, I think they could take Dallas to 6 or 7. But right now, with Ottinger playing so well, Dallas's power play is unbelievable. It seems like they're getting production from all three lines, and they got solid a D core. I'm going to give Dallas the benefit of the doubt here going forward in this series. So I would take Dallas in 6 or 7, but don't get me wrong. It would not shock me at all if Seattle comes in and wins in like 5 or wins in 6. They're just they're buzzing. They're moving well. They're sneaky. They just beat the Avs. They just won game 6 and 7, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken there. But yeah, I mean, they're playing really good hockey. And again, it just wouldn't shock me. It's the NHL playoffs. This shit is crazy. Yeah. You have no idea what's going to happen. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the Bruins just blowing a 3-1 lead there and Toronto getting out of that, series for the first time in forever. It's the NHL playoffs. It's crazy. So it would not shock me. I don't see them going all the way, though. Could they beat Dallas? Of course. But, I just don't see them. If they do, I don't see them winning against Edmonton or Vegas. I think both those teams just have too much power to compete with that. But hell, who knows? Because they just fucking beat the Avs. So
can I just say, I think I'm gonna throw 2 points at you here real quick. I actually rank Seattle above Vegas. I know that sounds crazy. Yeah. I think Vegas has way more weaknesses than what Seattle has, even though I just dogged them for the past 30 minutes. Now, the other point I was going to bring up, does it change your mind that they're plus 2,000 right now to win the Stanley Cup?
That's what they're 20-1 odds, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've seen some as low as 1,500, but
wow. Plus 2,000, huh? Is it worth a sprinkle? What is that? 20 for $400? Yeah. I think it's worth a sprinkle for sure. I mean, yeah, just a little sprinkle, always gamble responsibly. But if you have $20 to lose, I think it's a pretty, for that value, just beating Colorado, 20 for $400. I think it's a good bet. Just for the value sake. I mean, if they were plus 800, I'd say stay away. But at plus 2,000, it's oh shit. So I don't hate that. Yeah,
might be worth it. One thing we should transition a little bit. We've done a lot of hockey talk. Once again, if you guys want to participate as well too, we'll highlight your comments as well too. We only got maybe about 10 minutes left on the show as well too, but make sure you head over to the website as well too. New merchandise, new website layout. It's absolutely sick. We'd appreciate any support we can get from you guys as well too. But that just doesn't fund our show, funds other shows. Yeah, we do more stuff. Besides the point, we got to talk a little bit about the NFL. Football is back. Immediate talking point. Will Levis, tough.
I feel horrible for him,
especially after he's like, I wouldn't go if I'm not going to make it out of the first round. See, and I felt bad for him because you keep seeing him. And I remember one of the comments why the fuck is he still on his phone? It just looks terrible. It's where else are you going to look? You're going to be all the people around him, the women that were all around him, they're just looking at the camera. Doing this. You're not going to do that shit. I'd be on my phone the whole time too.
I felt bad. I mean, especially because, and I know it kind of was started by some Reddit chain or whatever about him going #1 overall. And I don't think anyone truly believed that. But I saw him in multiple mock drafts going 4th to the Colts. For him to drop out of the first round and for all the hype that he had and leading up to that draft. And I feel bad. I mean, he puts on this fucking great looking suit and he's got to sit in that draft waiting room all damn night. And, and his name didn't get called. And it really sucks. Obviously, not to mention you lose out on millions of dollars in signing bonuses. But yeah, I mean, just a crazy deal. Feel horrible. But, if he's good enough and he proves himself, he'll get that money back in contracts going forward. But yeah, I mean, just a shit show for him. And yeah, I mean, just feel bad. He was sitting there and there was all those memes going around, him standing alone in that like Prince of Bel Air house, and
Yeah.
just, I mean,
Shit's so funny.
it just so tough. But yeah, I mean, tough go for him. But that's the draft, right? It's
Yeah.
if you don't get picked by that team you think you were going to get picked by, you might not get picked for 30 more picks, because whether a team needs a quarterback, doesn't need a quarterback, wants to take a shot at you. So yeah, that's a tough part about the draft. But yeah, I do feel bad for him. That sucks.
Dude, and that's just across all sports. I even know somebody from the NHL draft that had the same stuff happen. Was
Mhm,
supposed to and was projected to go in the 3rd round. Didn't
mhm.
happen. The team's like, we're going to take you in the 5th round. It's like, all right,
Yeah,
5th round. Call back from that same team. Hey, we're going to snag you in the 6th round.
right.
Didn't get a call back as well, too.
Doesn't go.
7th round hits
Yeah.
and doesn't get a call from that team. Doesn't get a call from that team. He gets the call from that team. And then the next pick, he was taken by somebody
Mhm.
else.
Yeah.
And gets called to goes, oh, we're gonna take with that next pick. And he's like, go fuck yourself. That's just
Yeah.
like straight up.
Yeah, you were telling me bullshit for the last 4 rounds.
It's tough,
Yeah,
man.
and it's tough. It's obviously it's a business. It's a big business, and whether they like you enough to draft you, or it's like I'm so on the fence about this guy and not. And this, like you said, this goes for any sport, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just a shitty scenario, and you just hope to get on the good side and get drafted early on, but.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say too. Congratulations before we get into this point. Congratulations to a friend of the program, Tanner Morgan, signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well too.
Yeah.
Mariano signed out with San Francisco as well too. Mo signed with Detroit. So congratulations to the Gopher players as well too. Hopefully they
Mhm.
have long, successful careers. But one of the things that it was, I got to credit Meat Sauce to this one. Another friend of the program, Meat Sauce, not to name drop this entire thing, but Meat Sauce earlier was saying that he got word back that the Vikings, if Richardson or if one of the top 3 quarterbacks was available, Stroud, for example, they were willing to move up to the 6th pick
Oh,
if it had fallen. But
right.
of course, that didn't end up coming to fruition as well too,
Yeah.
and they didn't
Mm.
have any faith in the rest of the field. So we're all
Yeah.
in on Kirk this year. We're
Yep.
riding Kirko, and
We're
that's
Ryan Kirkhoff.
which I don't mind. I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
upset
no, no.
about that.
I think his stats have backed it up. He's a very good quarterback in the pocket. Obviously, you get him outside of the pocket and he's not very fast. He can't, make a play with his legs very often, but he does what he is supposed to do. He does what he needs to do. He
Mhm.
throws accurate balls. He throws touchdowns. And I'm excited about Addison. I liked where we were, and I know he's like, oh, he was the 4th wide receiver picked off the board, but I think they were all so similar. Where it's like, who gives a shit? I
Yeah.
think he's great. He put up some of the most crazy numbers at Pitt and USC. Um, I love him to replace Adam Thielen, and we love Adam Thielen. I hope he's going to have a great end of his career in Carolina, but we had to
Yeah.
move on from him. And I think this Addison, hopefully he pairs up very well with Jettas. Hopefully Jettas is, going to teach him some tools of the trade. And,
Yeah.
he's very good. He put up great numbers. He's fast. He's, sneaky. He can run all routes. I'm excited about him. I thought he was a great pick. I think if we had a choice at any 4 wide receivers, if they somehow fell to us, I probably first would have grabbed Smith and Jibwa
Mhm.
from Ohio State. I think he's like going to be really, really good. But I would have taken Addison second, and then I probably would have gone Quentin Johnson third
Yeah.
and Zay Flowers fourth. But anyway, I just think that he was a great pick, and I'm really excited for our wide receiver core. And then you mix in Hawkinson there. I think we'll be able to score, obviously, for days here. It's
With
just,
tools.
can our defense – can our defense help us out a little bit? And so we don't have to win 38-35 or whatever.
Yeah, right. And that was the one thing I was super concerned about. One thing I kind of dogged all last season was our secondary. I was like, no matter
Yeah.
what, we have to get our secondary fixed. Like, obviously, we have big holes to fill across the board, but our
Yeah.
secondary was just so poor.
Yeah. Oh, it's
So
horrible.
Blackman, I've heard nothing but
Mhm.
good things, especially from a
Yeah.
3rd rounder as well, too. That dude could
Yeah.
come out shining. And from what
Yeah.
I've heard and some of the grumblings and talking to people as well, too, is that they're really excited to have this kid. Like they're like,
Mhm.
this feels like a steal. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed that guy works out because
Yeah.
Blackman apparently is an absolute stud. So it picked up a safety too, which is nice little security
Yeah.
piece right there as well too out of LSU, I think.
Mhm.
So good, some good pieces that we've added
Yeah,
to this team, and I'm super
for sure.
excited for where we can go for
I
the
am
season.
excited for football season. I think, and I say it every year, but I think the Vikings really do have the best chance to bring a championship home to the city. If we're talking about the four big main
Yeah,
teams, I think the Vikings have showed that they can, we can win playoff games. It's just the defense. If we can get the defense figured out a little bit, and obviously it's tough when you got the Eagles in the division, and the Eagles look obviously just incredible,
and
and
they've added more.
they've had an unreal draft, and they got everyone that played for Georgia Bulldogs, who were the best defense in NCAA last year, and just won the national championship. And yeah, so that is a little scary, of course, but
Yeah,
I just give me a chance,
please.
and yeah, I think if we can clean up the defense and maybe only allow 24 points a game instead of 38, that's the difference in a lot of football games. If we had a defense last year, that Giants game would have been different.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Eagles first game, maybe not. They were buzzing,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but
No, no,
but
we
yeah,
went into Philadelphia and they put us in our place.
yeah,
But the
tough
Eagles
spot
were
for
really
us.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tough spot for 10K to have their first Vikings watch party be that game. That was a bad look.
Yeah.
but what are you gonna do, right?
Mhm.
Sammy, real quick
Yes.
at you. I don't have any plays for this week. I'm kind of waiting to see how the odds are gonna look tomorrow for the NHL action. Give me 2 picks. I want 2 picks from you. What do you got?
Okay.
If you guys aren't from the show, you guys haven't watched Whole Lots before. Mondays, Thursdays, we do this 7 o'clock. We talk sports betting. Thursdays we hit you hard with the bets. Mondays is more of a recap kind of sports talk thing. Hit him with two plays that you got, Mr. Blackjack.
Okay.
You got to be more specific than that. I don't know what you're talking about. We've talked about a lot of things that could or could not be. So, Sammy, what you got, buddy?
Well,
2 picks.
so yeah, I'm waiting on a couple of the NHL series prices. I'm just kind of looking at them now. It kind of depends on what happens tonight in this hockey game, but I am a huge golf fan. I handicap golf every weekend, so I'm going to give you two golf picks. We're heading to Quail Hollow. It's the Wells Fargo this weekend. Quail Hollow Club in Charlotte, North Carolina. I got two picks for you that I feel pretty good with. Number one, I'm going a matchup bet for the tournament. I got Rory McIlroy
Ooh.
minus 130 against Patrick Cantlay. And
Okay.
Cantley's been playing pretty solid, but McIlroy has won, I believe, 3 times at Quail Hollow. He loves this course. He always shows up on this course, and they're giving me some pretty good odds to just to beat Cantlay. He doesn't have to win. He doesn't have to get top 20. He just has to beat Patrick Cantlay straight up. And Cantlay has been playing good, no doubt. But I'm going to take Rory, who is the veteran at this course. He's got, I believe, the worst odds per se to win the tournament, i.e., they think he's going to win the tournament. So I'm taking Rory McIlroy minus 130 over Patrick Cantlay. Again, he's just won here 3 times, I believe. He's played really well here. This course really suits his eye as far as just being a great iron player and awesome off the tee. So I'm taking that for my first pick that I really like. And then I'm going back to Tony Finau. Tony Finau just
Oh,
won.
okay.
He just won the Mexican Open last week. He battled it out with John Rahm, and he took down John Rahm. He played flawless
Huge.
golf. I think he only had like 2 or 3 bogeys the entire week. Shot 24 under. He is minus 135 against Victor
Oh,
Hovland. So
yeah.
Victor Hovland, for me, recently for Victor, he's a Thursday player. He might go 5 or 6 under Thursday, and then he just forgets how to play golf. He'll either shoot even par, maybe 1 under, and then on Sunday he'll go 3 or 4 over. And so I'm just rolling with the hot hand. Again, that's Tony Finau minus 135 against Victor Hovland. Those are my two plays. I feel pretty confident about those. Both players have been playing pretty well, but I'm going to go Tony Finau over Vic Hovland, and then Rory McIlroy over Patrick Cantlay.
Now, if I was if I was a scumbag, which I'm not, but if I was,
sure,
I might genuinely, honestly look into Hovland only because of how I love watching him play, and he's been pretty damn exciting.
Sure, of course.
Your Thursday take is right, but once again, I'm not a scumbag, so I'm not going to take it. I'm definitely not going to put it in the group chat because I would never. Not a scumbag, but if I was, I would do it. I might take it. I'm not going to go against you or whatever, but we definitely got to take a peek at this one right here. So
I mean, don't get me wrong. Hovland can play some great golf. He's won golf tournaments in the past. He starts pretty hot, but I'm just looking at a full 4-day golf tournament here. And, would I advise like Hovland top 20? Sure. I mean, he's playing good golf. But again, he just tends to like not play very well on the weekend. So you kind of hope he like builds up a really nice, like in contention, top 5 going into the weekend, and then maybe he falls out a little bit. But I mean, hell, I don't blame you for taking Vic Hovland. Again, these guys are professionals. They're both really, really good. But I'm just going Tony Finau coming off the win and playing some really solid golf. So
this one right here, we got to talk about a blackjack, bringing up Florida to win the Cup. We talked hockey a little bit earlier. Here's what I'm going to say.
Yes.
I just pulled up some odds.
I placed it today, Mr. Blackjack. They are plus 1,000.
Yes.
I think that is awesome. That is awesome value for just, and is not a hot take either.
And I just found that line as well, too. I'm hitting it as soon as we get off of the show. And the reason why we talked about it before, that Matthew Tkachuk line. The line of the interview got me thinking that these guys are cruising. They have a great mentality. Not to get all hippie on it or whatever, but when you're putting out that much good energy, baby, you never know what can come your way, especially taking on the top team. But we talked about it. There's factors that come into play. Toronto getting out of the first round. Great play for them. We already have the Rangers because we had that months and months ago. But Florida at plus 1,000.
Yeah, you're giving me 10-1 odds on a team that just beat the best team that I believe, I don't know, now don't quote me, but I think it was like the best regular season that we've seen
from a team.
Since I've been alive. And they just beat them in 7, and they just beat them 3 games in a row coming. So, they faced ultimate adversity here and came back. 10-1 odds on a team that's just done that. I'm taking that all day. And obviously you could say the road is going to get harder, but they're rolling right now, and the Cats are playing good hockey. So 10-1, give me it right now.
Yep. 100%. Great play, Blackjack. I honestly would take it as well too, personally, responsibly, but make sure you take it. Now, that's going to wrap up our show for today. 43 minutes. You guys got a nice little treat. We try to keep this around 30, 35. We appreciate if you guys like this this kind of longer show or whatever, like it. Hit the like button. Maybe we'll go on a little longer. Maybe we'll start later. I don't know. We kind of want to cater to what you guys want because we want you guys to participate. Once again, we will highlight your comments over on YouTube, over on Facebook. But as another reminder here as well, too, we want to let you guys know we have brand new merchandise in the shop. Help support what we do. We want to try and grow. We want to try and scale, and this is how we do it, by putting out great Twins merchandise, Vikings merchandise coming soon as well, too. Maybe even a golf collection. Might have to do it. But once again, we want to appreciate you guys for tuning in to the show. We absolutely love you. Thanks for chatting along. Bet safe, bet responsibly. Check out Northern Lids. Check out Better Edge as well, too. Use code 10K, and we love you. Bye.